Story 1. What if the friend waving at you from the window was already dead? At 10, our family squeezed into a tall row house in a crowded district of Montreal, Canada, flanked by mirror image structures. My chamber perched on the 4th level, its pane peering directly into the adjacent dwelling, mere meters apart, close enough to discern details through the glass. For ages, that opposite room stood vacant, a dim void I'd glance at idly, wondering about unseen lives. Then one crisp afternoon, a figure appeared. A girl my age with curly auburn locks tied back, clad in a bright green blouse. She noticed me, beamed, and waved enthusiastically. Reciprocating ignited a spark of connection, banishing afternoon boredom. Daily at 4, post-school, she'd materialize, same outfit, initiating silent games, sketching charades on paper, me guessing. I'd flash schoolwork, earning nods or shakes. Warm breezes tempted open sashes, but she'd gesture inability to hear, smiling apologetically. Strict guardians, I assumed, my imagination filling gaps with empathy. Inquiring with Mom about her yielded, the Leclercs reside there, an elderly pair, childless. Mentioning the girl prompted, perhaps a niece on holiday. Melancholy tinged the thought. Temporariness threatened our bond. Yet she persisted, routines unbroken, sessions stretching as laughter bubbles silently across the gap. One midnight, rhythmic raps roused me. Peering out, she stood solemn, gesturing downward urgently, palms clasped in plea. Confusion morphed to fear. I retreated, burrowing under sheets as taps faded. Absence followed for days, guilt gnawing. Had I offended? Then another nocturnal summons, palms flattened on glass, lips forming silent words amid condensing breath, odd in summer's warmth. Save me, it seemed. Stepping back revealed a sinister smear on her blouse, dark and ominous. Panic propelled me to parents. Dad investigated, finding darkness. Dream, they soothed, but doubt lingered. Her no-show deepened sorrow. Venturing to the backyard, I hailed Mrs. Leclerc amid her flowers. Querying the girl, her smile vanished, replaced by grave inquiry. How long? Describe her. Detailing the auburn hair, green blouse, sealed window prompted a directive. Inside, child. Repercussions swift. Parents summoned, bed repositioned, blackout drapes installed. For better rest. Bans on window games followed, labeled outgrown fantasies. Protests fell on deaf ears. Confusion bred resentment, isolation amplifying hurt. No explanations, just prohibitions. Relocation came soon after. High school unearthed truth. Predecessor's daughter, Mira, perished at 12, struck by a vehicle post-school in that green blouse. Family fled. Leclerc's sealed the room after anomalies. Unexplained presences, perhaps. Mom's vagueness hinted at spiritual beliefs. Now 40, I avoid overlooking windows, a phobia birthed from reflections and glimpses. Dreams revisit her, serene yet unsmiling, eternal enigmas defying rationale. Story 2. Imagine waking up in the dead of night to find your roommate looming over your bed like a statue carved from darkness, his grin slicing through the shadows, frozen, unblinking, and utterly terrifying. This memory haunts me from my early teens, a time I'd rather bury deep in my mind. It stirs a nauseating unease, like a cold hand gripping my stomach, twisting it slowly. Perhaps sharing it now will loosen its hold, but I doubt it. Back then, I attended a remote boarding academy nestled in the rolling hills of rural Scotland, far from the bustling cities. I started in year 9 and stuck it out through secondary school. My roommate was a boy named Harlan, assigned randomly like puzzle pieces forced together. At first, we barely spoke, coexisting in awkward silence, but familiarity bred a fragile tolerance. Our quarters were sparse. Twin cots pushed against opposite walls, matching wooden desks cluttered with books, and a cramped wardrobe we split down the middle. The air always carried a faint musty scent from the old stone building, and the single window overlooked misty fields that stretched into endless fog. A few weeks in, Harlan's peculiarities began to surface, gnawing at my sense of normalcy. One afternoon, he approached me with a crumpled note, handing it over as if it were a sacred decree. Unfolding it revealed a bizarre inventory of forbidden items. No frogs, no stray pebbles from the pass outside, and strangest of all, no pepper shakers or spices of any kind. I stared at the list, confusion bubbling into amusement at first. Frogs? Where would I even source one in this isolated countryside? The Academy's grounds were more heather and sheep than wildlife havens, but the spice ban puzzled me most. Why prohibit something so mundane? We weren't allowed snacks in the dorms anyway, to avoid pests. Yet Harlan's expression was grave, his eyes darting as if expecting immediate compliance. I wondered if it stemmed from some hidden phobia or cultural quirk, but allergies to pepper? That seemed fabricated. His solemnity killed any notion of it being a prank. Harlan lacked any spark of wit, his face perpetually etched in stoic lines. Nights brought more oddities. He'd whisper into the void, fragments of conversations drifting from his side of the room after lights out. Not yet. Stay away. I'd catch snippets, my heart pounding in the silence, imagining invisible companions lurking in the corners. At first, it jolted me awake, sweat beading on my forehead as fear clawed at my chest. Was he speaking to me? To ghosts? But repetition dulled the edge. I learned to tune it out, pulling blankets over my head to muffle the unease. Then there was his hidden journal, tucked beneath his mattress like a guarded treasure. Curiosity festered in me, a restless itch I couldn't ignore. One evening while he attended a study hall, I rummaged until my fingers brushed the leather cover. Flipping through, most pages were blank, but a few held scrawled names, dozens of them, some viciously crossed out with deep ink strokes. My pulse quickened as I recognized classmates, the boisterous lad from history class, the quiet girl in maths. Scanning frantically, dread coiled in my gut when I spotted my own name near the end, unmarked. What did the strikes mean? Enemies? Victims? The ambiguity chilled me, turning harmless scribbles into ominous portents. Replacing it, guilt warred with alarm. Had I invaded a private vent or uncovered something sinister? Harlan's secrecy amplified the paranoia. He guarded that book like a lifeline. From then on, every glance from him felt loaded, his eyes narrowing in what I swore was suspicion. Anxiety gnawed at me constantly, a low hum in my veins, making me question every interaction. I avoided the room, seeking refuge in friends' dorms, laughing louder to drown the inner turmoil. But sleep evaded me, haunted by visions of retribution. The climax shattered my fragile composure one moonless night. Stirring from slumber, disoriented in the inky blackness, I sensed a presence. As my vision sharpened, horror surged. Harlan stood sentinel at my bedside, arms half raised like a predator, paused mid-strike, his smile a grotesque mask under the faint glow from the hallway. Terror exploded in my chest. I yelped, bolting upright, heart hammering like a trapped bird. He didn't budge, didn't blink, just stared, that eerie grin unwavering. "What the hell are you doing?" I stammered, voice cracking with fear. His reply slithered out calmly. "You were murmuring in your sleep," as if that justified his vigil. The nonchalance amplified the nightmare. My mind raced with possibilities. Was he sleepwalking? Plotting? I retreated under the covers, wide-eyed until dawn, every creak of the building echoing my dread. Morning brought denial. Harlan feigned ignorance, his confusion so convincing it sowed doubt. Was he a master deceiver or genuinely amnesiac? Either prospect terrified me, eroding my sanity. The room itself turned oppressive, walls closing in with invisible malice, as if Harlan's aura had tainted the space. Isolation deepened my despair. At 13, I felt utterly alone, too immature to navigate the shadows of human strangeness. Escalation came swiftly. Returning one evening, a slender grass snake coiled on my pillow, its scales glistening under the lamp. Shock ripped a scream from me. Harlan sat impassively at his desk, then muttered an apology. "Just a joke, mate." But his vacant stare belied humor. "Where'd you get it?" I demanded, voice trembling. "They're all over the place," he replied flatly, as if stating the obvious. Watching the creature slither willingly into a container on his desk defied logic. Wild animals don't comply like pets. Panic surged. Was this a threat? Retaliation for the journal? I froze, fearing escalation, my young mind paralyzed by indecision. The final terror unfolded in what I mistook for a dream. Paralyzed in bed, a swirling vortex of shadow pulsed on the ceiling, amorphous and alive, throbbing like a heartbeat. Dread immobilized me as it descended, a tendril-like appendage extending, scraping the wooden frame with jagged fury. It reached for me, inches away, then recoiled violently, as if scorched. Enraged, it rampaged, toppling books and clothes before hurling through the window in a cascade of glass. Jolting awake, or had I been, reality mirrored the vision. Shattered pane, debris strewn, fresh scratches gouging the bed. Terror peaked, unable to move at first, then surging to confront Harlan, who slumbered deeply, unresponsive to my frantic shakes. Desperation clawed at me. I needed him guilty to anchor the madness, yet his oblivion suggested worse, something otherworldly. Sobbing in isolation, the tangible evidence, glass shards, chaos, overwhelmed me. Harlan awoke eventually, accusing me of sabotage, his voice escalating to guttural hisses and unintelligible tongues, eyes wild. Chaos ensued. The hall monitor intervened, separating us. I crashed in an empty room, but dawn brought fresh horror, an ajar window I'd sworn shut. Rationality crumbled. Returning, Harlan's belongings vanished. Staff relocated me silently, dismissing inquiries with, "He's handled now." I never encountered him again. The academy blurred into repression, my mind barricading the trauma. Explanations falter. The breakage from inside, Harlan's deep sleep, none fit. Something unnatural invaded that night, and acknowledging it petrifies me still. Story 3. Picture this. A shadowy figure perched at the edge of your bed in the witching hour, its rough fingers tracing your skin like sandpaper, leaving trails of icy dread that linger long after dawn. Those summers at my grandparents' ranch in the vast plains of rural Texas remain etched in my soul, a blend of nostalgia tainted by unspoken horrors. The sprawling 50-acre property was more untamed wilderness than cultivated land, dense thickets of mesquite and scrub oak swallowing the horizon. I'd arrived mid-June for a fortnight, while my cousin Mateo followed in late July. Our visit staggered to spare our elders. The old homestead loomed 3 stories tall, the topmost an attic converted into a cozy nook. Once my uncle's boyhood retreat, now mine. The room's angled roof pressed low, creating intimate shadows, with a lone skylight framing starry skies in the encroaching forest. Grandparents retired early, around sunset, and etiquette demanded I follow suit upstairs. But rebellion stirred. I'd huddle under covers with a lantern and comics, or fiddle with my portable game console, the quiet amplifying every rustle outside. The first visit passed serenely, filled with daytime adventures, exploring trails, helping with chores. But the following year unveiled the unease. One humid night, engrossed in a story, creaks ascended the creaky stairs, stealthy and deliberate. The doorknob twisted slowly, the panel easing ajar a hand's breadth. Panic flared. I doused the light, feigning sleep, heart thundering as if it might betray me. Expecting Grandma's check-in, silence followed. No retreat, no closure. Dread kept me rigid, mind racing. Was she lingering, observing? Exhaustion claimed me eventually. Over breakfast, I confided in Grandpa about the intrusion. He chuckled dismissively, blaming the aging timbers or critters in the walls. Possums, perhaps. Skepticism gnawed. The steps were too human, the knobs turned too intentional. Yet challenging elders felt disrespectful, so I internalized the fear, a knot tightening in my chest. Nights later, awakening to vibrations, my bed quivered subtly. A silhouette loomed at the foot, indistinct in the gloom. Terror paralyzed me. Was it Grandpa? Grandma? Eyes clamped shut, I counted breaths, willing it away. Vanishing upon reopening, relief mingled with doubt. Had it been real? Morning revealed the wardrobe ajar, hinges silent witnesses to nocturnal meddling. Paranoia bloomed. Was Grandma monitoring me, her mind frayed by age? The thought evoked pity laced with fright, isolating me further. Incidents recurred, whispers beyond the door, fleeting touches on blankets, each eroding my composure. Relief flooded me upon departure. Confiding in Mom elicited laughter, assurances of overactive fancy. Mateo never mentioned such nonsense, she added, ceding self-doubt. Yet subsequent summers replayed the pattern, the figure's presence intensifying my isolation, prompting earlier bedtimes to evade the vigil. Adolescence ended the tradition, a silent blessing. Grandparents' passing in my university years brought somber reunions, awkward chats with distant kin. Mateo, near my age but worlds apart, shared only those ranch memories. Broaching my experiences, stares, silhouette, disturbances, I anticipated ridicule. Instead, his face paled. That's mild. It caressed me. Horror mounted as he recounted escalations. The entity not just watching, but settling on the mattress, its coarse palms exploring, cheeks, arms, wrists. Petrified he'd endure, eyes sealed until departure. How'd you know it wasn't them? I whispered. The hands, calloused, abrasive, nothing like theirs. Shock rendered me speechless. Why silence? He'd reported to his mother, met with disbelief and ire, learning helplessness. Immobility ensured survival. Validation amplified terror. My ordeals paled, yet confirmed an intruder, spectral or flesh. Forgetting proved futile. The thing label evoked visceral chills, implying supernatural malice. Alternately, a hidden squatter in the ranch's nooks. Both prospects tormented, a lingering shadow on my psyche.